Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Your local bedhead here. We are going to be diving into a video that I've been looking forward to watching for the past couple days now, and that is a video by my buddy, one of my co-hosts for Blame the Algorithm podcast, Andrew Stonerock, interviewed Jason Hawes and asked him some of the questions that I think really go to a lot of the concerns that people have when it comes to the GoFundMe, in which case, I myself have put up a GoFundMe. Andrew himself has put up a GoFundMe for, certain reasons. We obviously, I think anybody can understand questioning certain things, for sure, about these things. You're donating money to something and you're not gaining really much of anything from it. You're just kind of trying to help out. That's basically what a GoFundMe is. It's like something that you're like, hey, you know what? I have a little bit of extra money. I really feel bad for this. I really want to see something good happen out of this. So here's a little bit of money. Hopefully it helps. That is basically the rundown of like having a GoFundMe. There's more to it than to the process than that, but that's the overall. If you're donating, that's pretty much it. You're not gaining nothing. You're just donating. Please, if you have not, go subscribe to Andrew Stonerock. He is genuinely one of the most underappreciated content creators I have ever come across. He's one of the most underrated. The fact that he's not even close to 10,000 subs yet is mind-boggling to me. Like, the guy should be close to 10,000 by now. I think he's a genuinely I've had now personal conversations with him, and he is one of the most down-to-earth dudes. If you have not, go subscribe to Andrew Stonerock. I'm going to leave his link in the description and in the comment section, so please go support his video. Show him a lot of love, a lot of support, because this reaction video would not be happening if it was not for Andrew Stonerock. So here we go with the interview, and I'll give you guys my, of course, thoughts during and after the video. All credit goes to Andrew Stonerock. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
The Conjuring house has been at the center of one of the biggest debates in the paranormal community this year. From GoFundMe drama, secret investors, and questions about who really owns the property. This story has sparked outrage, confusion,
which I can confirm. It's not Jason, or it's not Elton, or Matt Rife. Nobody owns the Conjuring house besides the one person who already owned it. Jacqueline Nunez still owns the house. So, let's get that out of the way.
confusion, and curiosity. Today, I sat down with Jason Hawes himself to get clarity on the controversy, the house's future, and what this really means for its preservation. This is a full, unedited conversation, so you can hear directly from him. Hey, Jason.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Well, nothing much, dude. Nothing much. There's actually, so I'm going to try really hard not to fanboy out because I've watched you since I was like a teenager.
And you'll realize really quick that I'm like the most down-to-earth person.
That's fair. I like the transparency there. I like that he was pretty open about it. Like, I can obviously like see the concerns of a lot of people here, but let's be real. I'm still a fan. Used to watch Ghost Hunters all the time. Same for me. Watched Ghost Hunters all the time. Really did. I sat down with my grandma. Moments like that, you just don't forget. And, the fact that this is, hold on one second. Why is this popping up on my screen? Excuse you? Okay. Normally when I, full screen that shit. Oh, it's actually his screen. All right, my bad. That the whole taskbar thing down here. I was sitting here thinking, why is it still popping up when I bring it in? But it's actually, yeah. All right, that's embarrassing. Anyways, yeah, a lot of us are fans, huge fans of Jason Hawes because of Ghost Hunters. He was easily the best of the investigators out of the whole bunch, in my personal opinion. I really enjoy quite a couple of them, but Jason Hawes was obviously the standout as being, in my opinion, the most likable. So probably the most down to earth, and probably one of the most genuine ones, because he would try to debunk a lot of stuff, which that to a lot of people really they love, they praise that, at least he was trying to debunk and trying to figure out what was really paranormal and not. I know there are a lot of people who have personal issues with Jason and they can't let certain things go. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you whether that's good or bad. I'm not going to sit here whether you shouldn't feel that way or not. All I'll just say is I don't hold him accountable for some of the things that people are claiming. And a lot of the things, there's no even evidence that they are what they're claiming on. They're literally out there saying things like, Jason and his buddies were like burning down the barn and shit like this. Like Jason had a couple people from his like Taps gang burn down the barn and at the Conjuring house. And I mean, there are people making outlandish claims like that. No evidence, nothing. They're just saying it. And you can't do that. You can't just be saying that without actually having the physical evidence to prove it, right? But they're out there doing it. I mean, Jacqueline Nunez was doing the same thing. She was saying Jason was pretty much at the next door neighbor's house plotting to get her. which there was never any proof of that. Or Jason was the one who showed up at the Conjuring house. I mean, there's so many people saying so much shit about this guy that they don't have proof of. And if you have the proof, obviously show it. But I have not seen any legitimate proof of anything people are making up at this rate. So we'll just see. I wanted to get that out of the way because I'm seeing so many comments now just going after. And the same thing can be said about Elton too. I mean, there's a lot of people just saying shit because they just don't like that person. And it just feels like that anymore. Like they don't care. They're just, I don't like you, so I'm going to find anything to make you look bad. And they will just go at it. And it's just crazy that I see so many of these comments now. Because I will do my utmost best to try to find the actual proof of what they're talking about, and I will not find a single thing. So,
or by trade. I mean, it's not
just a dude.
That's it, man. I mean, if it was any different, I would, be doing other things. But it's just, I'm an average, normal, everyday guy. Father, 6.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool, man. So, I don't know where all this came from. I've been kind of following this loosely from the start. There's a lot of confusion.
Guys, there's a storm happening behind me, so if you hear any wind or thunder, get ready, because it's probably going to happen.
Out there, apparently.
Yeah, I think some of it's been, and there needs to be concern anytime anybody, here's the thing, and let it be known. You haven't told me any questions you're going to ask me, or anything like that. You and I have never met until this point, except when I sent you a message just saying you could have reached out to me at any time.
Yeah.
Which is 100% true. That I can confirm. That's not a lie. Andrew wasn't even expecting Jason to actually send a friend's request so he could send a message. But that was the only way, he could send Andrew a message was to actually add him as a friend, which all happened pretty much in one day. As soon as Andrew posted that one video, that's when Jason decided to add Andrew as a friend, and then they got together for this meeting. That is 100% confirmed. So, yeah, there's no hiding that here. Like, if, I'm trying to confirm Jason saying that. That's actually true. That, yes, they have never met before. Andrew is excited, of course, when Jason wanted to talk, which he had every right to be. We were all kind of excited for him. We were like, oh, cool, man. That's freaking awesome.
So, I didn't expect to be at this point, where I had no idea that Andrew was going to do the video. And I mean, come on, if I had just ignored that video, I would have it would have looked like I was like, I didn't care. And also, I mean, it's her plea. And, so that's what got me to step into it. I didn't, I had walked away from this property numerous times in the past.
Yeah.
Do I have a weird circle around me from this light or something?
There's a little bit of a halo, but
yeah, well, I don't want that. So right. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's honestly that's a pretty honest thing to do.
And I've been straightforward about that since the get-go. So
okay.
True. He has been. Jason has stated multiple times that he really didn't want anything to do with this, but since Andrea Perrin, still have yet to watch the video, since Andrea Perrin reached out and said, hey, I would really like it if you were the one who got the property, Jason was more for it at that point. He's like, okay, well, if, she wants me to do this, I will actually attempt. That's been pretty open, honestly, and out there, so.
So there's confusion about the GoFundMe. I thought you had dropped it to 600,000. I believe the article said 600,000, but some people think that you dropped it to 700,000.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that's just because I figured, and it's my own stupid math on it. But initially, somebody, was going to assist, and they're going to assist. Yeah, the numbers were screwed up. But I had told everybody that I was matching dollar for dollar up to that certain amount. So even when that person adds that amount, I'm still going to match it all. So, okay. But yeah, it's at 700,000. That's the number I ended up clicking down, man. I mean, there's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair enough. I mean, fair enough. He plans on matching 600,000 with all the donations. Somebody's going to donate 400,000. Okay, fair enough. I saw that on his GoFundMe too. It said 700,000 after he said he dropped it to 600,000. I did see that too. I didn't really think too much of it at the time. I was like, well, at first he was asking for like 1.5 mil, if I'm not mistaken. So the fact that it's even at 700,000 is still a lot lower than 1.5 mil. So 600,000. I mean, 700,000. It's not too far off, anyways. You know.
The next one is this is, I believe, one of the ones from the YouTube community post. It says, "Why is this anonymous person not putting 4 $100,000 amounts into the GoFundMe?"
Well, I think first off, there's multiple reasons. The minute they put it in there, like just talking with GoFundMe yesterday, they filled me in that they now have a system where they can put pledges, private pledges, that doesn't have to be put into the actual GoFundMe. I'm on the road right now, so we haven't done that. But I mean, if the minute they donate the money if they give it to GoFundMe, it automatically loses like 3%, or 2.9 or whatever else. So why would they sit there and do that at an instant cost of 13 or whatever $1,000 if they could just make it a private pledge? And other people have said, well, because there's nobody's they're not giving their name, they're doing this, they're going to have stakes. First off,
Here's the thing. There's a lot of people who have an issue with this. Like, why does this person keep remaining anonymous? I had a conversation with Andrew about this yesterday. And ironically, he says Jason actually is going to bring this up, which I stated, if you're donating that much money, obviously you have a lot of money. And maybe you're not comfortable with people knowing you have that much money. Or maybe you just don't want nobody knowing that you have that much money, because if they ever see you, they're going to be aware that you have a lot of money. And that could put you in harm's way. I mean, you see how much controversy is surrounding this Conjuring series? For all we know, that person could receive a lot of threats, there are psychos out there. And maybe they just don't want to be out in the public's eye in that kind of way, because they just don't want to be out in the public's eye in that way. As somebody who has gone through and experienced how crazy people can get on social media, yeah, it's not a bad idea to maybe remain anonymous. I mean, seriously, there are crazy people out there. You got to keep that in mind. It's scary. So maybe if he was thinking about that, maybe he or she was thinking about that, and was like, I really don't know if I want everybody to know I did this. Like, you can say that someone donated, but I don't want to be the person in the spotlight. I really don't. For all you know, right? For all you know.
they'll have no stake, no say in anything. This was a private pledge. And let's be honest, I mean, and you can see from just some of the posts I put out there, if somebody does that and they're public about it, people are going to come out of the woodwork and be like, well, if you got $400,000 to donate to this, then how about giving me a loan? How about doing this? It happens, it. And just like the people who win the lottery and all stuff like that.
People have been killed. People have been killed for winning the lottery, and then people finding out that that's who won the lottery, and they go after them. That's fair. We live in a world of sick and crazy people who don't want to work, and they would rather just fucking find you and take the money instead of work. So, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we live in a scary world. I don't blame the person for wanting to stay anonymous, actually. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay. All right.
So, and then they start getting called out. Well, you're giving this money to this. And you can see some of it in the post. It's like, well, you're raising money to try to preserve this house, but there's all these homeless individuals or this or that. The money could be used for other things. Of course, somebody's going to want to be anonymous when it comes down to that. It's, they don't want everybody and their brother coming out, either attacking them for what they're donating to, being upset that they have that much money. I mean, we live in a world these days that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I get that.
I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, and I wouldn't think you'd even argue that point. I think you know exactly what I'm saying on that. If somebody realized that somebody realized you had $100 million sitting in your bank, as well as I do that people are going,
you're what's for dinner? Yeah. And then your friends are like, hey, man, I heard you had this money. Hey, want to take us out to eat? And then you get used by your friends. I mean, even some people might not even tell their fucking family or friends they have that much money. Right? I mean, there are some people who go on dates and they go to the cheapest places and are loaded with money, but they go to the cheapest places because they don't want that person to know they have that much money, because they don't want to just have them love them for having money. They want them to get to know them as a person, right? So like there's actually people genuinely afraid to even say they have that much money. In the world we live in, yeah, people are going to be all over that. So I get it. I do. Actually, the more I think about it, even if the person was like in the paranormal and if they wanted to stay anonymous, I get it. There's a real fear out there. You know? It's like when you open your wallet and you're about to pay, you don't want them to see how much hundreds you have. Yeah. I mean,
to come out of the woodwork and ask. And there's a lot of people out there who ask because they truly need help, and there's a lot of people out there who ask because they feel like you should automatically spread that around or do what they follow what they want.
Yeah, I'm not against them remaining anonymous. To be honest with you, I value privacy. So
Yeah.
just the fact that they would like to remain private, it's completely okay with me. Another one is what happens if the cost of repairs on the property exceeds the amount raised?
Well, I already expected to.
Andrew's microphone is kind of low. Like this happens like on some live streams too, where like the microphone might be a little bit away from his mouth, and he has to be almost kind of on it to be like louder. So yeah, that's not really his fault. It happens with certain microphones. Mine's always almost all the way up against my face anymore because I want people to hear what I'm saying.
To exceed any money that's raised through the GoFundMe and so forth. So I mean those costs are already
Repairs on the property. Another one is what happens if the cost of repairs on the property exceeds the amount raised?
So like if they raise over the 1.5 million, and let's say the house itself costs, or maybe even they raise more than that, and the price of the house costs, they pay the house off, and they have even more money. Where's all that money going to go? Is that all going to just go to the repairs, or what's going to happen there? Because like, what if it costs more to repair it than it does to even cost to buy it, right?
Well, I already expect it to exceed any money that's raised through the GoFundMe and so forth. So I mean those costs are coming directly out of me. That'll be on me to to make sure that that's all covered. I didn't go in this thinking that I wasn't going to have to spend a lot of money. I went in this for the fact that it was like, all right, well, Andrew made a plea, and I had said I didn't want to be involved in this many times. If I was going to do it, let's see if we can do it as a community. Let's bring everybody together with no promises of anything. Let's just try to do it. And if it didn't work, okay, well then no harm. Everybody gets refunds and everything else. So, but it was like to pull everybody together because not just Andrea. Andrea made the plea, but after Andrea made the plea, you can imagine how many messages I was getting asking me to answer that plea. So, all right, and that's fine. I get it. I'll step up. I'll help out. But let's see if we can make this a community effort.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Another one is, will financial records related to the GoFundMe and property costs be made public or verified by third party for transparency? I think this one kind of goes back into the privacy that we just talked about. If anything, all the records are going to be in your name, I think.
Yeah, well, so there's different ways. So even talking to my attorney, there's different ways of handling this, whether LLC.
Already, I'm so happy that Andrew is the one who did this interview and not me. Because, like, yeah, he's better at asking these kind of questions than I 100% would have been. Yeah, I would have been just sucky the entire time. I would have been just wanting more to have a conversation with the guy instead of ask questions, to be honest. But no, so far Andrew's doing a phenomenal job. He's just asking questions, people's concerns. He's not really the thing about having questions or conversations like this with people like Jason Hawes is that sometimes people might be weirdly intimidated by some of these people because they have such a status. Jason Hawes is Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters, right? That's like Zach Baggins from Ghost Adventures, right? I'm not saying they're on par. I think Jason Hawes is by far more trustworthy but it's like you might be surprised how many people might be a little bit intimidated if, let's say, Zach Baggins were to have a one-on-one conversation with you. Some people might be like, holy shit, this is big, because Zach Baggins is Zach Baggins. At the end of the day, whether he's fake or not, and I believe that he has faked, probably 99.9% of the stuff that he's done, it's still Zach Baggins. So, like, to be sitting here and asking him, so what do you think about people saying that you fake shit? What do you think about that? That'd be a little bit more harder to ask him as I'm looking right at him, right? Like it would be. I'd be a little bit intimidated, and who knows what he might say? He might try to gaslight me and try to make me look. Who knows, right? Who knows? I'm not saying that's what would happen, but I'm just saying. So, and I'm not saying Jason would ever do that, but you start thinking about that stuff, especially me, where I start second guessing and I start like overthinking, and I'm like, oh, I really hope I didn't piss him off. You know, that wasn't my intentions. I've done that sometimes where I feel like I've pissed off people, and most of the time they'll say, oh no, you didn't piss me off, even knowing there's some moments where I'm like, I feel like I pissed you off, but that's just me overthinking it too. That's just my mind. But so far, no, he's just talking to him like a regular guy, which good for him. Good for him. That's awesome. I love to see it. I really do. That's why, go subscribe to Andrew. He seems like he knows what he's doing here.
Or, different types of trust scenarios, which
Yeah.
and a trust is always another positive idea, because you got to remember it, it saves the property. Say if tomorrow I got sick or whatever, if this property was just in my name, or say in 20 years from now, I ended up on state Medicare or whatever. A lot of times the government at that point will seize your assets to pay for your medical care.
Yeah.
So we dealt with that issue with my father when he had MS and cancer. So, next thing you know, they're trying to go after the house. They're going after this. They're going after that. And a lot of people out there understand this. I mean, you can research it. So the fact of the matter is, if you put it in a trust, that protects it and still keep it, it'll remain open for the public, for education use, for all those factors. So it could never be demolished. It can't be sold to private developers. So there's two different types of trusts. So,
Okay.
that way it at least keeps the property safe in the, chance that something happens to me
right.
or whatever, but it still keeps it stable. And I think that's the most important thing. And it also, an LLC can give you some protection, but a trust can give you more protection if it comes down to somebody getting hurt on the property and then trying to file suit, trying to sue you or whatever else. And again, I'm going to have to rely on the legal term, not the legal term, but legal representation to decide what's within the best interest of that property. That's what it comes down to. It's because this isn't a money-making endeavor for me. I mean, if anything, at this point in my life, it's a cost factor for me. But if you're able to preserve the property is able to make enough to run itself, cover its costs.
People forget, and I know people are always going to say, he's not in it for the money. He's not, our people are saying that he's in it for the money, and that's all he cares about. At the end of the day, no matter who got this place, because of its title, because of what it means to so many people in the world of the paranormal, it was going to be a moneymaker no matter what. Jason's goal is to at least make it reasonable for everybody. He's not wanting to overprice it. He doesn't want the prices to be, over $1,000. He wants everything to be reasonable. He's aiming for it to be reasonable. Now, obviously, we can't just say right off the top if it is going to be 100% reasonable because, well, we don't know just yet what it's going to cost and we just don't know a whole lot yet. So we got to wait until after he buys it, he fixes it up, he sees where it's at, and then we'll know more. But right now, his goal is to not overprice it. We'll see, right? I don't think he would after all this was being said. But I genuinely believe that he has been pretty open so far about his intentions. I know there are going to be people in the comment section saying, I beg to differ. That's fine if you have that opinion. My opinion is he so far has been very open about what he's been saying. That's what I see here. Very open. I'm sure there are consequences to not being as open as he is when doing something like this. So he has no reason to lie. He had nothing to gain from it, right?
Cover its upkeep, repairs, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. I can agree with you on that. I
and
also,
what, if we can cut the price and it's crazy because I've seen a few people being like, you can't cut the prices down to make that property survive. Yeah, you can. It's not complicated. You can still do the tours as a major source of the revenue that come in to cover that property. You can still do, a couple overnight investigations at half or less of the cost that she used to charge. So, you could get that down to $70, $50, $60, $70 a person to do overnights if done right. It would be different if I needed a paycheck out of this property. And I think that's what people aren't, and those people aren't understanding. Will I want to make my money back? Well, yeah, but that's why I'm trying to keep my costs down so I don't have to try to make that much money back. And
Fair. I mean, he's been saying that the entire time too, right? He has to make his money back no matter what. But if he keeps how much he's going to spend out of his own pocket, he's not going to have to worry about charging as much. Makes sense. It just does. The more you spend, the more you charge, right? To make your money back. Pretty straightforward. So that's why he put up the GoFundMe in hopes that, hey, since the community wants me to do this, let's see if the community wants to help out. You don't have to. It's not a requirement. But if you want to, you can. It's okay if you don't. Okay? I know there are people saying that it's a scam. I do not believe it's a scam. GoFundMe is an optional thing. If you choose to put your faith and trust into this and you donate, if it backfires, that's on you at the end of the day. You chose to donate that money. I have donated to several campaigns, Indiegogo campaigns for films, right, where my name's at the end credits and stuff. I've donated money to those things, and I love seeing it. But, this is a little bigger than what, people ask of those. But still, it's an optional thing. Now, if you have doubts, if you don't trust Jason, if you don't trust anything that is going on with this GoFundMe, you know what's special? You don't have to donate. And you don't feel like you have been just scammed, right? So it's an optional thing. You can either donate or you don't have to, and nobody's going to think any less of you. It's okay, all right? That's it. Simple.
if I was looking at it differently, then I would say the hell with it. I'll just go in. I'll get a buddy, whatever. We'll go in. We'll get into the auction. We'll fix it up. Charge whatever and move forward from there. But it's not about that. I mean, it's not about that for me. I mean, I used to own a hotel in restaurant bar in New Hampshire, and it would cost you $80, $100 to rent a room. And then if you want to go investigate it, go investigate it. You weren't being charged extra. You weren't being, there weren't all these. And don't get me wrong, I understand people's business plans, and I understand your cost has to be trickled down and so forth. But that's not where I am in my life right now.
Right. And a lot of people were actually mentioning this to me, that Jason was, in fact, actually referring to Elton and the Warren house when he did make that comment in my comment section. And I will say that I saw his live stream. He was pretty honest about that. He did say, I actually was referring to Elton and that yada, yada, yada. Now, obviously, these are two different businesses. Okay, Elton is trying to run an Airbnb-esque kind of place with the Warren house, right? So, like, Airbnbs are not cheap. There's a lot of Airbnbs that charge loads of money. And also, you have to take into consideration that this is the Warren house. There's a lot of people who do not like the Warrens. I, myself, am not a fan of the real Warrens. Do I like the movies? Yes. And if I were to ever go there, that would be the only reason. I'd be like, oh, yeah, this is the place that, inspired the Conjuring movies, which I really do enjoy. Do I believe all the stories? No, I don't. But go back to that. Let's go back to that. I understand. There's a lot going behind this. And especially if they're treating it more like an Airbnb than just your everyday paranormal investigation stuff. They're also giving you a lot of stuff. They're adding a lot of things. It was more understandable when I actually got told what is all going to be included with this. This is not going to be that. So they have space to actually go cheaper than, they're not treating this like an Airbnb. This is going to be what it pretty much was, I think, from the beginning, but it's also going to be more of, I don't want to say a museum, but you get what I'm trying to say. They're trying to preserve the property and make it accessible to anybody who's a paranormal enthusiast. So, yeah, I do believe Jason when he says that he's going to try to keep it reasonable. I really don't have any reason to doubt he is telling us the truth here when he means that. Obviously, we can only wait and see if he does get the house, where it's going to go from there. But I'm open-minded about this. I'm open-minded about pretty much anybody buying this place. We'll just see what happens once they own it, because that's all we really can do. I understand the concerns with the GoFundMe. Some people just don't feel comfortable with donating, but if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. Simple as that. But, yeah, no, I actually heard about that he was actually, in fact, referring to Elton, where I thought he wasn't referring to Elton. No, apparently he actually was. So, the more you know.
Yeah, I think I kind of addressed that a little bit in the video. That
he wasn't initially, trying to attack him. I don't think that intent was there. I don't think he was, trying to drill something into him. But, obviously with Elton, dealing with what he's dealt with, it's not like I can't understand. He got a lot of heat for what was happening with the Warren house. A lot of people who just don't believe in the Warren stories. I mean, there's just so much the guy has to deal with over there that is all over social media. Misinformation being spread around, which I unfortunately did at one point, and I got called out for it. But I can understand the stress, the frustration of dealing with that and consistently dealing with that. So if, let's say, Elton did take that more seriously than what he was intending, then it's understandable. I don't think anybody would be like, oh, well, you just need to, grow up. No, I think under the pressure and stress, looking at him as a human, it's like I can understand how stressful it is for everybody to be kind of saying this, that, and this about your business. I'm trying to be open-minded. Again, you got to keep that in mind. I'm trying to be open-minded and understand everybody's situations, but I truthfully don't have really a whole lot of reason to believe Jason is ill-intended here. Or back in the comment section, I really don't. But yeah,
that you would have to make your money back on it. So it would be down to operating costs. Like as long as the building could cover its own cost, I think is where you
operating cost, and then also remember no matter what property, you always want that property to turn somewhat of a profit because there's always going to be repairs that are going to come up. So the roof was replaced in 2020 something. These other issues. For all the well could be shot at some point. I mean, there's endless factors that come up. So you always want the property to be able to turn a profit for itself, so it has money in the bank. So if something happens, an emergency, they're not coming to me being like, Jay, we need a check for 50 grand. No, the property has its account. It has so it has its, expenses and everything else going through there. And it makes enough to keep itself open, cover its expenses, but also puts a little in the bank every month or whatever, which will be a financial stability for that property. And that's any property that you run, even owning rental properties. I owned rental properties in the past, and your rent isn't just covering your mortgage. Your rent is covering your mortgage and a little, because you never know if you're going to have to replace your hot water tank. You never know if something's going to happen and you're going to have water damage or flood damage or need somebody out there to rerun pipes. You always have to.
Okay, and that's fair too. We're looking at a house that was built in like the late 1700s, early 1800s, right? I think that's probably about right. Or like, was it the early 1800s or late 18? I can't remember. It's old as fuck. I think it is the 1700s. This house is old as fuck. It's gonna have problems. It's gonna have continuous issues that are gonna come up. It's gonna need the money to make sure those repairs are always fixed for people to come in and new investigators and whatnot. Okay, so like all of that, to have a little bit of extra money put back to make sure those costs are taken care of, makes perfect sense to me. It seems like a smart idea to have. So
have a profit to a certain point to cover all those expenses. So, but does your profit have to be 30 grand a week? No, absolutely not. I mean, that's where there's a fine line there between it making, a couple hundred or even a grand a week extra to put in its account to making, 20 grand, 30 grand a week.
That's right. Okay. So moving on, it says, can you clarify who currently holds the legal title of the Conjuring house? Like who currently owns it?
Right now, the past owner, Jacqueline, she still owns property.
It?
Yeah. And that won't change hands until the new lender whoever purchased the note has to go through the foreclosure process again.
Okay. Did the new lender, did they purchase from the old bank? So like when they bought the debt, did they also buy the mortgage itself?
Well, the debt is that would be the mortgage. So yeah, and I mean, it's not uncommon practice. Now, do we know who it is yet? No, but it's not uncommon practice for one lender to purchase a block of notes from another lender because you're purchasing that lender's debt. And, they do it for different purposes, whether they can tack on their extra fees, whether they can look at a property as, okay, well, when we finally foreclose on this and do this whole thing, we can add extra, we can sell it for a profit. I mean, there's endless reasons why lenders purchase other lenders, just like when it comes down to credit card companies.
Yep.
I mean, you might get, you get these collection agencies who purchase those debts or whatever from those credit card companies.
Yep. Yeah, I completely get that.
And that's why I said, man, I'll answer whatever question because I want it full transparency. It's like, I think a lot of people don't understand those little things that end up going on, or how things actually work when it comes down to that stuff.
Yeah. So
Well,
I
yeah,
know I
most people just kind of look at the bigger picture. So when someone like makes a post, or a news outlet makes a post saying this is what's happening, they only just give their thoughts and opinions on that, but they don't know every small detail that's happening behind the scenes that go into these things. Which I myself used to be really guilty of that stuff, where I wasn't really understanding every detail that was going on behind the scenes that could be putting anybody in that certain situation under a lot of stress. I'm only thinking about, like, is this person right for the fit? And here's this, that, and this that make them not okay for that role. And it's like, and look, they're already doing this, and maybe they have to. Maybe they're put under certain circumstances to where they have to do it like this, or this is going to happen and it's going to backfire on them and it's going to hurt them. And nobody ever thinks about those things when they just see this stuff. So yeah, it happened with Elton, to be honest. Like, a lot of people were just kind of like, $2,000, and then he started like going over everything that they were intending to do, and then you're like, okay, so it's not just like $2,000 per group just to do an investigation. No, apparently you have an Airbnb and you're allowed to stay overnight, do whatever you want, hang out in the place that the Warrens actually lived. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just, and you get to spend 20 apparent hours there. Now, you don't get to see all of the artifacts and stuff. Like, that's only for a certain amount of time. It just is. I like Elton, I like all that stuff, and I still say it's expensive. Like, I myself will not drop $2,000 to go stay at the Warrens' house. I mean, first off, you got to look at me though. I don't believe in the Warrens. I do think they were con artists. So for me, that is a big reason why I won't spend $2,000. Now, for anybody who is a Warren enthusiast who watched the Conjuring films and believes everything that the Warrens did, they're going to be excited about that, and they're going to jump on that opportunity to do it, right? Kind of like when a Walt Disney fan goes to Disney World. They're dropping like so much money because they just can't. They're overjoyed with the fact that they're witnessing Disney, right? And they're looking at the Magic Castle and Kingdom and stuff. I'm not trying to say the Warrens' house is anywhere near the level of Disney World or Disneyland, but to some people it might be, right? That's just the reality. That's the reality. There are people who just are diehard fans and they don't care how much they're going to spend. They're going to spend it and go there. So that's a reality. I'm not saying they should, but it's their money. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how you should and shouldn't spend your money, right? I buy stupid shit all the time with my money. I literally drop probably $500 on a clown animatronic for Halloween this year. Yeah, I'm making monthly payments on it, but you get what I'm saying. People spend crazy money on things that you wouldn't probably spend the money on, but there are people who are genuinely going to spend the money on, and that's where this is going to interest those kind of people. $2,000 is way too much for me. If it was like $400, $500 for me to stay a night, sure, fuck yeah, I'll take a couple of little half of a paycheck every now and then and just put it together, and I'll just go and stay the night there. But for $2,000 to stay at a place where I believe the people were con artists, no, I'm not going to stay the night there. And I do believe that you took advantage of a lot of people with weak wills and minds. So, yeah, that's just me. That's my opinion. I've seen a lot of evidence. I've seen a lot of video footage. I've seen a lot of things that just rub me the wrong way. That's just how I feel. Not dissing his business, not trying to, but that's just how I feel, right?
I had kind of reached out to you in the video to address whether or not your daughter was going to have any sort of ownership.
Now, I did see the comment. Jason said, no, they won't have anything to do with the business itself, right? So that should put a lot of people at ease. If Jason's saying they're not going to have anything to do with the business, they're not going to run it, they're not going to be employed, they're not going to, it is what it is. But I myself even said, I don't care if they're at the property. I don't care if they're walking around, if they visit the place because they used to work there. Like, that's not a problem to me. I just don't want them to do the method. That's all I care about. I don't want them to do the method. I don't want them to try to make a profit, work in there. I really do believe that method was debunked big time, and I will stand by that till my dying days. I don't care if they're at the property, but just to work there and to be putting people under that whole process again. I would hate to see it
at all.
No shit. First off, let me just state right off, they have no ownership or stake in the property. Satori and Cody, they weren't even aware that I had agreed to try to help Andrea. Yeah. She was pretty surprised when I dropped that video.
Yeah. I was reading some of your comments while you were in the comment section putting that down. And I kind of thought that you had answered it, but some people still had questions about it.
Okay.
Now they're wondering if she will have some sort of management role.
honestly, that hasn't even been discussed
Right.
because I've only, it's mainly been, you know,
To be honest with you guys, and I'm sure they've thought about this too, I highly doubt Satori and Cody probably want anything to do with that property in those regards. For the reasons I stated in my video, when they made their video, I said they should avoid it, like the plague. Because if they are even caught doing that method at that property, people are going to lose their minds. And they are going to have a repeat exactly what happened back in 2022. I want to say 2022 is when that series came out. I think. I could be wrong about that. Correct me in the comments. But they almost, I truthfully believe they could not handle what was happening. I don't think they were mentally prepared to be called out like that. And I just don't have any reason to believe they personally would have any interest in managing that because they know what's going to happen the second someone sees them. A paranormal enthusiast sees them, right? Jason Hawes is friends. I wouldn't say, I don't know if they're friends, but he's acquaintances and has, worked with Beardo, Side Eye Guy, and several others who do not believe in Satori and Cody's method. They are going to be at that property at some point, probably investigating it. I don't think they would want to come toe to toe or see Side Eye Guy in person, knowing how they feel about it. So, like, I doubt they want to go anywhere near that property, and they shouldn't. They want to invite all these kind of different people to go there and do their investigations. I don't think they would ever want to be in that situation. I really don't. So I think good on them if they have like just no interest in doing it because it's like that's where you should be. It's just no, just stay away from it. Business wise, employment wise, stay away from it.
Jen, Corey, Aaron that I've discussed that with. And when it comes down to it, I have 6 kids. I mean, are people going, you're going to see my sons over there helping mow the lawns. You're going to, anything that's going to keep costs down to keep that property open. But I have not committed to anybody. And it's not because it's not just a me decision.
Yeah.
Because that's a decision that has to be decided between pretty much everybody who's assisting there. I'm going to be relying heavily on Jen and Corey and Aaron because they Corey and Jen own the property. Aaron ran the property, as well as other employees who've worked there as well as the neighbors, which I have a great relationship with, who are hoping that things go a certain way because their lives have been hell dealing with this stuff. Yeah, so that's going to be I think that's going to be a group decision, and I have no preference one way or another because you know what, that was never part of my decision making on this.
Right.
This was a quick, not even a quick, but all right, you know what, I'll try to see what we can do here on that, and if we can save this property, because let's be honest, I mean, who knows how long Andrea has left?
Yeah.
This could be the final thing she's asking for, and you know what? I would have hated myself if I just ignored it,
right,
or I just didn't do something to try to help. Man, that's
right.
And I don't think we actually covered, your answer with your question about all the funds and if it's going to be transparent. I don't know if it is transparent. I don't, whether it is or not. There's going to be other people who are helping with any of those GoFundMe's. It's just like, am I going to be transparent to people on the 1.5 or 2.5 or 3 mil, whatever I put into the property? I mean, people are going to see what the property was purchased for, so they're going to know that. But but any money that comes in,
yeah, all that information is going to be, I'm sure, very public. It's already all been public, so yeah, there's no really hiding anything like that.
And from the GoFundMe or anything is 100% going to that property. I mean, because when it comes down to it, if it's just there's no money that is going directly to me. I mean, it's going into that property. I don't need the money in the first place. The only reason we're doing this is in hopes of trying to keep the cost down for everybody. It was a beneficial thing. It's a win-win for everyone. And
so that makes Jason feel like he didn't overspend his own money, to get the property that he really didn't even want, but he only did because Andrea's plea. And this at least makes it to where the fans of the Conjuring house, if they want to see it saved, they don't have to pay as much, and Jason doesn't have to spend too much of his own money to to buy it, right? I mean that does make sense to me. I mean it just genuinely does. Whether he had the money to buy it or not, I think that does make sense. Yeah, yeah. I mean I understand it. I do.
So it opens up those doors, and it's not like this property is going to be purchased and then sold 5 years down the line. I mean, especially if it's put into a trust or whatever, because then it's locked in and it's protected.
Right.
And that was another concern of mine. Nothing personal, but I wouldn't want to have something happen to me, and then people are like, okay, we can sell that property, and no, I don't want that. I want the property protected, where it's and it's always there.
Right. Yeah, GoFundMe. If people are anonymous on GoFundMe, there's, I mean, no reason to try and look them up. Is my thing on it. And
yeah, I'm not sure if they can or whatever. My only concern about the anonymous part was those who donated money anonymous. But I guess GoFundMe still has their contact information. So that was a concern for me, because I was like, well, what about the ones who've been donating, and staying anonymous? Are we going to be able to, if this doesn't work? And GoFundMe told me that they are able to make sure those people get all their money back as well. And another thing I've seen, let's just answer it, is some people have said, well, if this doesn't happen, can what I donated go to something else? No, it can't, because the one thing I promised from day one was this was for the Conjuring house. So I can never make that decision to say, well, it didn't work there, I'm going to put your money in. No,
So like your money's going to go back to you, and then if you want to donate to something else, that is your option. You can donate to something else, but your money's going back to you if something, let's say, does happen where we're not buying the house anymore.
That's not up to me. Everybody gets their money back, and if they want to donate to something else, fine. But this is for the Conjuring house, and that was it. So if it doesn't happen, then you get the money back, and if you want to donate that somewhere else, then that's up to you.
Right. No, that's completely fair. Yeah, I'm all for people wanted to be anonymous, or your $400,000 pledge, that's anonymous. I'm all for that staying anonymous.
And that person's not in the paranormal community. Just let me say that.
Yeah,
that person's not a paranormal individual, and it's a total different industry.
I've seen speculation from people on who they think it is.
Yep, I've heard. I've heard like Sam and Colby. I mean, that was more along the lines of when we didn't know who actually bought the debt, right? So the mortgage. They were like guessing Sam and Colby, Zach Baggins, all these different people in the paranormal. Nope, it doesn't sound like it's somebody involved around the paranormal at all.
It's like they're throwing out Josh Gates, and
I mean, Josh would be considered in the paranormal community. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm a huge fan of Josh Gates. I talk about him a lot. Like on the channel, I talk about cryptids mostly. So Josh Gates comes up a lot in my script writing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm a huge fan of him. I'm like, if he was involved in this, his name would probably be on it.
Yeah. Oh,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh is a good friend. But no, this has nothing to do with anybody who's involved in the paranormal industry. I wish I could say.
Hey, they want to remain anonymous. We can be anonymous.
Exactly. But I can say 100% they're not involved in the paranormal or the paranormal TV or paranormal online community stuff. So
yeah, I think that the transparency question was for them, so people could go back later and look it up. I think is what that.
But I don't think they want people to be able to look them up and just like you see all these people who, I mean, like I donate money every year to things. It's not like I do it and make sure my name sticks out to it. And people do this all the time. I mean, they donate large sums of money to other things just to, keep them open and they don't take a stake.
Well, that's true. I mean, I've seen, and it's not just with the Conjuring house, you've seen people just drop thousands, $2,000 just for things that, probably have nothing to do with them, and they know they're not going to gain anything from it, but they just want to do it because they want to help. And they make the extra money to where they're like, fuck it, I'll just do it. I mean, I've seen it numerous times. It's not just for the Conjuring house. It's for other things too. Charities, cancer research. I mean, it just happens. And look, if this is your field and this is what you're passionate about, you know, there's going to be people who are going to donate just because they want to donate. More than likely, a lot of those people probably have some sort of ounce of money. And they're like, fuck it, I'll just do it because I want to see this place get a good owner. I do. And now, obviously, someone like me, I can't make that kind of donation just like that. But, like, you know, people who do, you know, I'm good on them. Good on them, you know. That's all I can say. Again, it's an optional thing. You have the choice to either donate or not donate. At the end of the day, that is your choice. Jason's not going to sit there and shame you. Nobody's going to shame you for not donating, right? So, I mean, there's sometimes at the store where it's like, you know, the employees looking at you at the self-checkout register. I have one of the registers, and they're like, hey, you want to donate like $1 for charity? And you're just sitting there like, I really don't want to, but yeah, I'm going to do it. And they'll guilt you a little bit by looking at you. And then when you say no, they're like, all right then. But when you do it, they're like, oh, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, it's like, hey, I mean, most of the time I do that, but not even, it's like, oh yeah, sure, why not? It is what it is. But some people actually can't do it, and they'll be guilted for it. You know, they'll be like, all right, whatever, man. That's fine. It's fine. It's like with that little tone.
It's something that they feel good about doing. And, you know, I mean, it's, I've been in the industry for 25 years. I've, you know, hung out with everybody from owners of production companies to musicians and so forth. So there's a lot of people who've done
Rest in peace, Meatloaf.
very well for themselves.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it says, actually, you've already answered all of those. So I guess the last one would be, how do you address the community concerns that the house's historical value could be overshadowed by ghost hunting and personal projects?
Oh.
Would you consider a plan focused purely on preservation?
Okay. Just so you know, your audio keeps going in and out, but I heard you. But
Okay.
I just want people to hear what you're asking me. So if you want to just say it again.
Okay. How do you address community concerns that the house's historical value could be overshadowed by ghost hunting or personal projects? What would you consider a plan focused purely on preservation?
Okay. Would I consider a plan focused solely on preservation? No, because the property wouldn't be able to maintain itself if it was just that. So there would just be no way for that property to survive. Now, do I want the paranormal to overshadow the historical aspects?
The only reason why anybody knows the Conjuring house is because of the paranormal. So it basically has already overshadowed it, right? Like, yes, it's a historical landmark. It's a historical building, but it's only very famous and out to the public because it is revolved around the Conjuring series. So, I mean, it's always going to be paranormal. There's just no getting around that.
No, but I want them to fuel each other. No matter what, we need to accept that property is always going to have ties to the paranormal enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Whether people believe it or not, whether they like it or not, it's always going to have those ties. So we need to accept that. Oh, well, I mean, everybody needs to accept that and embrace that, but embrace that in a way that it's not comical. It's not over the top. It's not, oh my God, there's a demon in the basement. Have it in a respectful.
Well, that's why it became the content house. I hate to say it, but Satori and Cody were one of the biggest reasons why it became the content house. There was something evil out in the woods. It just became so over the top. Fucking Beelzebub was mentioned at one point in one of Sam McColby's videos, and they just made it about demons and shit. Continuously running Bathsheba Sherman's name through the mud when there's no evidence that she was ever a witch. I mean, this house was nothing but just everybody trying to force it into the evil place that it was presented as in the film. When you look at the movie and you watch The Conjuring, it comes off like an evil place, right? So it's very easy to go into that location thinking it's evil if all you know is the movie. If all you know is the movie, then you don't really understand the Conjuring house. It's not that. It's not evil. It is a place where there could potentially be something there that is supernatural, but it's not demonic. At least I have ever seen true demonic activity, besides using very flawed equipment to make it sound like it's demonic. But I have not seen 1 ounce of evidence that would suggest it's evil. Never. Yeah, so.
a respectful way. And to be honest, this property notoriously has pulled believers, non-believers, skeptics, debunkers, historians to it. So
it's a little bit of everything for everybody, isn't it? When you sit back and think about it, yeah, the 1700s. I mean, the activity that was supposedly happening back in the 70s. It's got a lot of history. So, it's interesting to say the least.
Utilize that for this property, for the sake of the property, because all of them coming together will be beneficial to this property, and it'll allow it to thrive and survive. And I think that's most important. And when it comes to, there's so many opportunities that can be done with that property. The barn, there's claims that the barn is one of the oldest in the town. Now, I believe that's accurate, but I could be wrong in that. But the barn had a fire happen, and it's kind of been left. But that barn can be fixed up. It can be utilized for other things. It can be utilized for, I was talking to people like Kenny Biddle about this, who's a good friend of mine. It can be used for a place to show, scientific research and paranormal research, and where they've crossed paths, and where we are in this field, and how you can do the next steps, which I think is a great thing, because that could be, I think, like, I don't know the exact, but I think she used to charge $40 or whatever for a tour, and it was a tour of the house. Now I could be wrong on those numbers, but
it's not bad, I guess. $40.
I mean, people can go for tours, and they could go see this as well, which is just an ad, not even an add-on for extra expense, but just an added part of that tour, which gives them more to work with. It's great seeing the property and seeing the history and seeing that stuff, but if you're there for the paranormal, it would be nice to also be able to do the same and have something more that shows you how, or at least helps guide you in how we can advance the field. I mean, with the barn also, you could have everything right down to a historical aspect of it. You can have the tools of those days, things like that really connect people, not just to the paranormal aspects, but the historical aspect of that property.
Yeah.
I mean, the possibilities are endless. You've got all that land out there, which is most of it's not cleared, and I wouldn't want to clear it. Let's just be clear there. So I wouldn't want to go tearing anything down or whatever. But there's fields. I mean, those fields can be used for community things, where you can have community style little fairs or whatever that can showcase, like I had said in one of the posts, it can showcase local artists or other artists. It can be used. It's just endless.
Well, that's actually a really cool idea. I actually really dig that idea. Make it about the community. Bring, like, maybe the town would love that. Maybe the people who live in that area would be like, every year that they do this over there, and it brings us all together. We look at different art pieces. That could be really cool. Actually, open up a field. Do something for Halloween every year, right? Do maybe a hayride thing. I'm not saying you have to, but the options, the opportunities might be really neat. Walk through the woods, maybe even clear a path. Who knows? But you could do something like that and showcase the property while rolling around. I mean, you could have a lot of really fun community building things happen over there at the Conjuring house, instead of it being so private. Which it's nothing wrong with that, but it would be neat to see it because it is one of the oldest buildings, right? So you might have a lot of people down for that. I mean, certainly if I was living over there and there was like a hayride, like a small pumpkin-y thing going on over there at the Conjuring house, I'd be down to go down there, and I'd be like, fuck yeah. Hell yeah, bring the family.
Possibilities that will help generate revenue that can protect that property.
$10 a family or something along those lines. So do the hayride, right?
Property for periods of time, because when you come to the winter months, I mean, you're going to slow down. Yeah. So it's like you have those months throughout the spring, summer, fall to generate that income to cover the expenses throughout the winter as well. So
right. Okay, cool. I think that was it for the questions.
I live in Ohio. It would be a couple days drive, but hire me.
Most of them, at least. A lot of the questions that I got were kind of repeated.
Yeah. Well, and I have, like I said, do you have any specific questions or concerns that you want to address? I mean,
no, I think you answered them. You answered everything that I had.
Well, bottom line, man, is, and we don't, we don't know each other. Our paths crossed because you did a post and I responded, and I'm happy they
Yeah.
crossed. But
They've never met before. And I can confirm that. They've never talked, nothing. So that's true. Just want to emphasize that. Yeah. We were all very thrilled when he got the message from Jason saying, "Hey, can we like talk and do like a video, cuz I would like to talk about this." And the one thing Jason wanted to make sure on is that the video was not edited in any sort of way. That it was all raw. And I liked that answer. There wasn't anything he wanted cut out. He wants everything to be as transparent as possible. And I appreciate that. As somebody who only can sit here and look at things like this, I want full transparency. I want honesty. I want blunt answers. And this was just him giving his honest, blunt answers about things. Sorry, Andrew, I paused you on that shot.
but it's always since day one, and some people have made some statements which are incorrect. Since day one, I've tried to be 100% transparent with everything. Even in my first post, where somebody in your post had said, "Well, he only threw in that he was going to throw in money." No, I pretty much said from the get-go that I was going to invest. I just never said the amounts. Again, this is something that I could do on my own, but then it would be this.
Yes. He knows he could have done this on his own. He knows he could have definitely had bought in this house. But he's given his reasons why he decided not to do that. And I respect those decisions. Okay? He probably already knew that he could get shit online for doing that. Because obviously the guy's successful. He ran Ghost Hunters, man. He was on TV. Of course he has money. I never once doubted that the guy probably could not have done this on his own. But then he explained why he decided to go the GoFundMe route. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. You know, he didn't want to pay the full price on his own because he genuinely was not interested. So he decided that if everybody wants me to do this, why not ask everybody if they can help? That's basically it. That's at least what everything I've gathered on this. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Again, if you don't want to donate, you don't have to donate. He's not grabbing your hand and putting his hand in your pocket and pulling out your wallet and saying, "I'm taking this." Bam. It's a completely you decision. You don't have to donate, and you shouldn't feel shame for not donating. It's okay. All right? You shouldn't feel too scammed because it's really a choice thing. Right? So that's all I'll say about that.
Business venture that I'd have to start looking at the same business plan that she had in the past, and it just wasn't about that for me. I don't know. I don't want to see a mom and pa investigator head to a property and have to pay $1,600, $2,000. That's just not the business plan I want to be in. I want to see people be able to go there and enjoy it for a reasonable amount, and not feel like I hit them.
Right. I get that 100%.
And let's go ahead and make it clear too. There are going to be people who are going to find that too expensive, probably. Even the reasonable price is probably going to be too expensive for a lot of people. There's no getting around it. You're going to have people who are going to find that overly charging. That's just going to happen. But I think it's going to be reasonable at the end of the day. I don't think he's going to charge over $1,000 to do an investigation. I don't think that's going to happen. We'll obviously wait and see, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm kind of with you on that. That's kind of how I figured the thing was going to go down anyways.
Yeah, and and there's a lot of properties out there, and I'll never question. I'm not questioning anybody's business plan. Just understand that. But there's a lot of properties out there that are larger properties, so I can understand that they're trying to pay for electricity, they're trying to pay for heat, they're paying for their insurance. There are all these other factors that come into play. But this isn't a big property like that. I mean, it's a small house. It's got the barn. It's maybe a big part of land, but I couldn't morally justify doing that just where I am. So
right. No, I get
Okay,
it.
well it's simple enough. He did not want to pay the full price on his own. He just didn't. Okay. Straightforward, to be honest. He's just on it. I didn't want to pay the full price out of my own pocket. All right. Simple enough. All right. Yeah, no, and he's not. Look, he just outright said he's not trying to like diss anybody else's business. He understands that other people are paying more because are charging more because they have to pay this, they have to pay that. This is there's a lot of land here, there's a lot of buildings here, there's a lot of electricity that's being used. Makes sense. Okay, fair enough. Makes sense. This is how you're running your business. This is how I want to do it. I want to do it a little bit differently. Fair enough. All right.
Completely, 100%. I don't. There's no.
Again, I know there's going to be people in the comment section saying, but he did this, that, and this. I have no reason to go after this. I have no reason to shit on him. He has been pretty honest about most of this stuff, I feel. Okay, even things I was doubting, he just answered in a pretty understandable answer.
There are questions. I think we covered them all.
Well, and what's your concerns? Your own honest concerns about it.
Well,
I almost clicked on that.
My concern mostly is that you kind of answered that as well, is that I just don't want it to fall into the hands of like developers and stuff like that.
Yep.
Just because solely just the history of the property being around since the mid 1700s.
Yeah, I mean, one person that reached out to me was an individual out of New York City, and I guess their plan was to come bid on the property, but this individual is part of another company, so I guess you can refer to it as like a hedge fund type company. But and their whole idea was that they wanted to get sprinklers in there, do this, do that, and get it all up to code, and then start charging $600, $700 a night per person to sleep there as a bed and breakfast. Because they're like, well, if you can fit like 6 people in there, then so you're making almost $5,000 a night. That shit scares the hell out of me. But the nice thing was,
Okay, so he's aiming for a little bit cheaper than that. It sounds like
they reached out to me, and talked a few times back and forth, and they said, you know what, all right, we're not gonna be there. And this was before the auction. They're like, we're gonna stand clear of it. And I like that idea, because there's no way none of us would stand a chance going up against somebody who's involved in a hedge fund company out of New York. I mean, we'd all be dead. So it's like,
I fucking love that. We'd all be dead. It'd be pointless. Yeah, just walk into a funeral at that point.
they're going to bury us. So but then again, we also have the whole unknown. You never know who's keeping.
You really that's the reason why you got to be prepared for those refunds, because for all you know, some guy's gonna walk in there and just be like, mine. Bam. 10 bill. I doubt that, but you get what I'm saying.
Quiet, who might be stepping in, and but the fact of the matter is, it's just all we can do as a community is try and see where we end up. To see the community come together like this, I think has been phenomenal. It's great to see, and what? Again, in the end, no matter what, if we win, we win. Great, everybody wins. But if not, we tried, and the community came together and really made a stand.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing what everybody's doing, like especially just behind the GoFundMe and all that. One last thing, I've seen some comments where people kind of think that if they donate to the GoFundMe that they partially own.
Yeah, I've seen that. And a big thing with GoFundMe is that you're donating with no expectation of reward or anything like that, because that's 100% against their policy. And doing that, I mean, if there was a reward, it also opens you up to different tax issues that you need to be concerned about. So now this is just a bunch of people coming together, throwing in whatever they can to try to save a property, to try to help save a property. And I've also seen people say, well, it just means he's going to own another house. I get that. And I get that concern. I mean, that's why I would love to just get this over to a trust or whatever. But I already own homes, and the homes I have are nice homes or modern homes and stuff like that. It's not about, like, I don't want to just own the Conjuring house. I own the other homes. we're trying to do this as a community. This is nothing to do with me looking to own a home or try to, hold on to it as an asset and sell it in the future. If it was, I wouldn't be talking about trying to put together a trust. This is about preserving this for generations to come. You know what? I've done a lot. Within the paranormal field. I've been involved in it for over 35 years of my life. If I was gone tomorrow, I've left somewhat of a legacy. If we're able to save this property as a community, and that's part of my legacy, that we did this for generations to come, man, that right there, that means everything to me. To add that, he stepped up and everybody stepped up behind him, and they created a movement that came together and preserved this property, whether it's the paranormal aspect or the historical aspect. Right there, I think that means everything to me, and that would be a legacy I would be proud of.
And he's doing it on a plea. Someone's pretty much last wish. Can we just do something with this house that I lived in my entire life and make sure that this guy gets it? I mean, if he can accomplish it, good on him. If anybody else accomplishes it, good on them. It's not really, I have no ill will against most anybody who would purchase the property. As a matter of fact, I'm getting to the point where it's like, I just want to see this place taken care of. I really do. I just want to see it taken care of before something happens and the place is it just crumbles away. I don't want to see that. I want to see it taken care of. I think it's a cool thing that Rhode Island has, behind them. They have this place that is very historical. It's old. I want to see something good come out of this. And I'm just getting to the point where it's like, I have a few people who I'm like, I actually wouldn't mind them owning it because I know they're going to take care of it. I know it's going to be put together. I know they're going to go in there and repair it. And Jason's one of those people. I have no doubt it's going to do that. And if he wants to make it more of a community thing instead of a private thing where you have to like only pay, just certain people can only get in. I mean, man, I'm down with it. I'm down with it. I really am. It's just good news to me. So.
Right. I get that 100%, man. 100%. So I know you're short on time. I know you're out filming right now.
Gotta get to an investigation, but
yep.
Having fun with these YouTube stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Is there anything that you wanna wrap up with?
No, man. I just, you know what? It means everything to me. As somebody who has never put together a GoFundMe in my life, it scared the hell out of me, Andrew. I'll be honest. I was like, I've never asked people for money. I've never done anything like this. And when I first put it up to see.
I've done it too. I put up a GoFundMe, and that was because genuinely, and I put up a GoFundMe to buy this house. The house I'm in right now. This house is my grandma's house. She lives at the house next door. She owns 2 houses. She's up there in age, and her health is always getting worse, right? So we really don't know when she could go or pass away. She's in her 90s. I don't want my mom and dad to have to try to find a new place to move. So I offered to buy the house. I offered to get a loan. I've been building my credit up for the longest time, but at the time, I put up the GoFundMe because things were looking scary at a good point. She was going to the hospital. She had COVID. It was really taking a toll on her. It scared the hell out of all of us because not only are we going to like potentially lose our grandma, we're going to probably lose the place we live, right? So that was a real struggle. I offered to buy the house. I'm like, I will make monthly payments. I went and got a land contract. I signed a land contract. She signed a land contract. I'm paying monthly on it. I put up a GoFundMe because I don't have money. A lot of the money that comes from YouTube goes directly into my YouTube channel. I buy things for my channel. My job, most of that money goes straight to the land contract. I put up a GoFundMe. I had an audience. I was like, if you guys want to donate, you can. We've raised about $2,000. And I think I had like a $20,000 goal. The house I'm buying for is like a $60,000. We're paying $60,000 for it. I put up a $20,000 GoFundMe because I was going to use that as like a down payment, right? We raised like $2,000, if not $3,000. And it was a completely optional thing. I made sure to emphasize that. It's optional. You do not have to do it, but it would help a lot of my stress if you want to, right? Because, again, my channel very rarely makes ad revenue. Very rarely. I get a lot of copyright claims because I react to other people's content. So I get a lot of copyright claims. I'm okay with copyright claims. I have no issue with that. Nobody struck me yet. But I put up a GoFundMe because I financially struggle. So this was a good way to help. I understand where Jason's sitting is that he's not financially struggling. So people are always asking, why didn't he use his own money to buy this? Why is he asking us for our money? And I get that as a big criticism. But again, it's an optional thing. You do not have to donate if you do not want to. And Jason's not going to guilt you for not donating. He understands. Anybody would. So, a similar situation, I just don't have the money to buy the house, you know. So that's why I was asking. But I understand a little bit. And I was terrified to put up a GoFundMe because I have never asked anybody for money. I'm always buying stuff for people. I never asked for help. So I felt like it was a very risky move to make, but a very mature one to make. I was acknowledging that I cannot do this alone. And I don't want to ask anybody for help, but this was the best option I could think of just in case if I was at a race against time with my grandma's health. If something happened to her before I could do any of this, we're gonna lose the house. So I was like, I really got to just kind of bite the bullet and just do it, or I'm gonna regret it. So I did. We raised like $2,000 to $3,000, and those payments helped with my monthly payments. So like the monthly payments I was making, those helped for like the first several months, and I was like, the stress was just down. Now we're making the monthly payments, but yeah, it was phenomenal. It was very appreciated, and I really appreciate every single one of you who donated to that. I really, really do. Thank you so much.
How quickly people were there to support it. I mean, I think within like the first 24 hours, it was over $30,000 raised, and then it got locked up, and there a reason behind that. You know, I guess there were some weird claims that they wanted to look at, which is fine. And after that, it was back open. And then when I heard that the house was sold, I instantly went and paused it because I didn't want to accept one penny for donations or anything if it wasn't going to go to what I had said. And then when I found out it wasn't the house that was sold, I opened it up and I made sure I did a video and let everybody know why. So it's the whole thing is just I've tried to make sure that everybody knew every single spot or every single thing that was going on at any moment. It's just been about being honest with everybody, keeping it real. But it's been an amazing emotional roller coaster, again, because it's something I've never done before. But to see how it's come together, I owe it to everybody. I mean, they're all the ones who made it possible. I was just a voice, and they're the ones who made it possible.
Right.
Okay. Well, Jason, thank you for talking to me. Thank you for hanging out for like a half hour, 45 minutes.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. And if you have any other questions that come, you know how to get in touch with me. It's I have no problem answering whatever. So it's all about transparency and letting everybody know what's really happening.
All right, brother. We'll have fun at the investigation.
Thanks, man. You stay safe, and see you around.
See you, bud.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Andrew handled that like a boss. Didn't come off nervous at all. He just asked the questions that most people were concerned about. I'll give a lot of respect to the guy. A lot of respect. He was sitting in front of one of his idols, right? Jason Hawes, regardless of what you think of him, is one of the reasons why a lot of people are even interested in the paranormal. So for him to be sitting there, handling the questions like a boss, asking him, being very direct, him being very direct, I mean, I like it. I like it. Good job, Andrew. That was awesome. Again, be sure to go over there and support the original video by Andrew Stonerock. Hit the like button on it. Get it up there in likes, because I'm not seeing a lot of likes over there, and I'm like, what the hell? Give him some likes. Give him some love. Show support. Really do. Share the video. Show that there was transparency here. Show that there was open communication and there was no cuts, which I really appreciate. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Does this change your mind about the GoFundMe, or does it not? Be respectful. Be classy in the comments section. There's no need for anybody to start fucking getting violent and raging over this. There's no reason at all to do that. You either donate or you don't donate. Simple. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, support the original video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Do take care.